Godzilla, King of the Monsters is directed by Michael Dougherty, stars Kyle Chandler, Vera Farmiga, Charles Dance, Ken Watanabe, Zhang Ziyi, and Millie Bobby Brown, and tells the story of Godzilla and a bunch of monsters smashing into each other. That's really it. Do you really need me to tell you the backstory of Godzilla? Like, read up on all that and everything if you really want to know all the lore, because there's a lot of really good lore behind it. I mean, these movies have been going on for like 60 plus years, and really there's been some great ones, there's been some silly ones. It's about a giant lizard creature or a titan that is radioactive that protects the earth, even though he destroys quite a bit of it. I mean, like, really, that's essentially what it is. I was actually looking forward to this one because after the somewhat disappointing Godzilla 2014 movie, which I liked when it was just the Titans, the big monsters, the kaiju, whatever you want to call them, colliding with each other, when it was just them, destruction and all that, that's actually the kind of shit I enjoyed. That's why I like the first Pacific Rim, why I sort of, Pacific Rim Uprising, less so, wasn't all that good. The whole point is those movies were clearly influenced by the Godzilla movies from all the way back in the 50s, even to now. Tend to ignore the Matthew Broderick one, and that's not necessarily Matthew Broderick's fault, but that one was a really, really bad movie. The 2014 version was a step in the right direction, but focused a little too much on the human beings, which were just not all that interesting. And this one kind of continues the events of what happened in 2014. You hear you get some backstory and everything, and you get some other characters that witnessed all the destruction of Godzilla. Vera Farmiga's character and Kyle Chandler's character are estranged husband and wife, or divorced. They never really go into all that much detail, but they lost their son. They have a daughter played by Millie Bobby Brown, who was also in Stranger Things. And there's not a ton of story really to this. Ken Watanabe does reprise his role from the first movie, and Zhang Ziyi, who I love from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Memoirs of a Geisha. Fantastic actress, bright, beautiful. I always love watching her in movies. Vera Farmiga, I absolutely love. I think she's fantastic, but, from the Conjuring movies to Orphan. I thought she was great in Orphan. I actually enjoyed Orphan. I actually own Orphan. It was a whole lot of fun. And she was in The Departed and a whole bunch of other movies. Kyle Chandler, who was in, that earlier TV show, Early Edition, and also Super 8. And he's been in a bunch of other stuff. Ken Watanabe was also in The Last Samurai. He's been in a bunch of great stuff. Charles Dance, he was in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and Game of Thrones and some other stuff. The cast really is kind of just to the side. There's other people that you'll recognize from the cast. It would take too long to really go into it. But with this, Vera Farmiga's character has created a device called the Orca that can, send out a signal and everything as a way to calm these titans down. To figure out a way to calm them down and everything and control them and maybe make it to where they don't destroy the goddamn world. Oh, wait, there's some possible, hidden agenda stuff here. And things kind of go south really, really quickly after one of the titans, Mothra, is discovered. And she's calmed down and everything. Things kind of go south. And from there, you get a whole bunch of, Titans unleashed and everything. Including one that you really don't want to fucking unleash, because it is King Ghidorah. And, that's the three-headed dragon from the earlier Godzilla movies and everything. And Rodan even makes an appearance. There are other ones making an appearance. I'm not going to go through all the names and everything. But, of course, the titular character, yes, titular. I love the word titular. God damn it, I'm trying not to laugh, so immaturely. Godzilla makes his appearance. The characters, fortunately, the human beings tend to take like a back seat here. And unfortunately, the motivations behind like one of the characters doing what they decide to do as a way to unleash these titans doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's like a really stupid reason. Now, granted, if you go back in the earlier ones, and especially the Japanese ones and stuff like that, the reasons for these monsters being unleashed and the silliness of it was part of the charm. In this one, since they're trying to play it straight, even though there is some good comedy here and there, it's just the reasoning behind it is just like really ridiculous. It's just like, okay, that's a stupid reason. Why in the world would you do that? This isn't going to end well. You're blinded by stupidity or grief or whatever. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, but I'm trying to keep it spoiler free for right now. The movie is, however, at its peak when it involves Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra, any of the others. It does. I mean, it mainly focuses on those four because otherwise it would be spread way too crazy, too thin, and going in way too many directions. And we would have Spider-Man 3 with too many villains. We do not want a Spider-Man 3 because we certainly do not need emo Godzilla dancing down the street. Now I'm picturing it, and I know that somebody's going to make some kind of gif about that or make some fanfic. Dear God, what have I done? But I digress. This movie is a whole lot of fun. There's, if you feel, you're going to feel most for the character, or most for the Titans. I mean, Godzilla and Mothra in particular are the ones that you will feel the most for. Because everything else is like, everybody else is pretty much villains and stuff like that. And the human beings, like the villains, it's just like the most stock stuff. And they're almost backdrops and everything. If it wasn't for the fact that this movie was handled with a level of care and a little bit of humor and a little bit of, and also obviously understand the just sheer magnitude of the fact it's absolutely ridiculous because it's giant monsters colliding with each other. If you're going for anything other than giant monsters colliding with each other, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Why are you going to a Godzilla movie for anything other than that? The movie is a whole lot of fun, though. I will say that. Leagues better than the 2014 version, which I liked and had a cool end and everything. And sorry, spoiling for 5 years later, but the part where he, breathes fire and then the blue flame in it, breathes it right down the creature's throat and kills it. That was pretty cool stuff. This was a whole lot more fun, though. I liked the fights. Yeah, the character stuff, the human being and stuff like that. You didn't care for too many of them. I mean, Ken Watanabe's character is a little bit fleshed out, but Kyle Chandler's character is very stock. Vera Farmiga, who I love, is very one note in this. It's just, there's not really a whole lot of layers to it. However, I will say that the movie is a whole lot of fun. Now, yeah, I'm going to get into spoilers just very briefly or whatever. So, just go see it if you enjoy the Godzilla movie. So anyway, 3, 2, 1, and go. So the movie, has this device called the Orca, as I said, that creates this signal and everything, and can calm the Titans down, or it can unleash them, and it can control them, basically, is the idea. And something that Vera Farmiga's character has been working on since she lost her son, and it's basically driven her batshit insane. Her daughter has realized this. Her daughter in the beginning, in the beginning of the movie, is typing to her dad, her estranged dad, I'm worried about mom, but she doesn't get a chance to send it, even though her dad's been saying her emails. And then shit starts to go south and everything. They get flown to this area where there's this, this secret society or this secret group of people trying to control the Titans called the Monarch that have these stations all over the goddamn world, yet they're so easily penetrated. And yes, the word penetration will always be funny to me. It's just kind of hilarious how easily they get, taken down, though you get to find out why a little bit later. So, Vera Farmiga, she's controlling Mothra because Mothra, gets out of its larva stage and everything, and it's then, out of its, pupal stage, and then it's going to get to where it will hibernate and then will, grow its wings and everything. She controls it, but then suddenly this remote station is besieged by Charles Dance and his, group of thugs and everything, apparently eco-terrorist people. They want to reset the planet, and they want to do all this stuff, and then later Vera Farmiga's character reveals that it's her, that the reason that she's doing this is she was the one that, had that Monarch outpost besieged and everything, because she wants to control the Titans, because she wants to reset the planet, because somehow this will justify what happened to her son. It's the most batshit, stupid, ridiculous thing that you've ever goddamn heard. It's so fucking silly. I mean, grieving parents is one thing, but it's just it's so ridiculous because it's how is this going to fix anything? Oh, all the radiation that these creatures emit, they destroy the cities, and then, life takes over and everything, and it'll be a renewed world. Except these things are 20 goddamn stories tall, if not taller, and killing everybody. Well, 50 stories tall in some cases, and just destroying all these things or whatever. It's going to take years and years and years for stuff to reform. And why did you think that this was going to fucking work? It's just, if you think too much into it, you really just want to slap her in the face. And That's the one thing I hate. This is probably the least I've cared for Vera Farmiga in a role, which really disappoints me. Is she is one of my favorite actresses. If I had to name a top 5 of favorite actresses of the last 20 years, she'd probably be close to number 1. But she's pretty ridiculous, and it's very stock stuff and everything. The daughter, Millie Bobby Brown, she's fine, but everybody's just a backdrop for when the Titans, the kaiju, whatever you call them, start fighting. And of course, it's just kind of funny because they just go from outpost to outpost, and of course, Kyle Chandler is recruited by Ken Watanabe's character, and because he is obviously the estranged husband of Vera Farmiga, and well, hey, he knows how to, make the orca and everything. Wait, I thought I destroyed that. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. He doesn't keep very good tabs on things. And also, they somehow managed to find him on a hunting trip in, like, Colorado or something like that, just out of nowhere. I guess maybe they implanted a homing beacon in one of the wolves, or maybe it's in his binoculars. I don't really know. But anyway, thinking too much into these details, it's just pretty ridiculous. If you analyze too much of this, it is just a silly, silly monster movie with some good depth when it comes to the monsters. It's very much just service of the fans. It does play everything well, and sure, okay, you get the location, like, oh, this location suddenly besieged. We need to move to this one. And despite the fact you hear from the military later, and they unleash this oxygen bomb thing, because they're like, well, hey, you couldn't control this stuff. So we're going to unleash this oxygen bomb that's going to kill fish and it's going to kill all this stuff, but it'll kill Godzilla. Except it doesn't kill King Ghidorah because he comes from space. Yeah, that's right. It's really silly, but the whole point, it's just monsters, titans colliding. It's just fun. It's just fucking fun. And it does allude to, there is a post-credit sequence. Please stay for that. And they also do some little teases for the fact that they're going to be doing Godzilla vs. Kong sometime next year, I believe. Well, it's going to be released next year, so it's probably already done being filmed. But, yeah, I get into a whole bunch of other stuff if I really wanted to. You get Ken Watanabe's character as a fine death and everything because after Godzilla gets pretty much almost destroyed by that oxygen bomb, he hibernates as a way to heal among a bunch of radioactivity. They get this nuclear bomb, or they get this nuclear sub down there, and he has to take this one sub and basically sacrifice himself by setting a bomb and everything. And he feels a kinship with Godzilla. He has a good death, then Godzilla just unleashes a whole bunch of shit. You get the bond between Godzilla and Mothra. You get everything you need from a whole bunch of the Godzilla movies and everything. So I'm gonna say B+. It was very enjoyable. I'm not gonna get into every single spoiler here, but B+. Enjoy. Is it great? I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan, but I enjoyed it. I had fun. And for 2 hours and like 2 hours and 15 minutes, it clipped along really good. Sure, stock characters and all that stuff and everything, but really enjoyable. B+. There is a poll up there. Please let me know what you guys think, and let me know in the comments. And let me know some of your favorite scenes. Maybe without spoilers. Do you think I was too harsh on some of the characters? I don't know. It just for me, it's like the human beings were like, they were where they were. I didn't really care for a lot of them. If they had all died, it wouldn't really matter. It's not like I was like rooting for the deaths of everybody. But it's like I didn't have any real sympathy for Vera Farmiga's character, which I think was disappointing. Even though maybe that was the whole point. But anyway, so that's what I have to say. Agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I am John Ritlin, and I will see you soon.